Hey, what's going on, people? So, this is a little bit of a series I'm going to start on this channel. I want to talk about this is advice for parents, single parents, any parent that has a child with autism. I want to give you some advice. I don't know how many parts this will be comprised of, but I want to, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a, I'm not in the medical field with any career, but I feel as though I can give you some advice on this first video. I want to tell you about food sensitivity. Now, I'm not going to go into the whole diagnosis story with me, but with a lot of my traits and a lot of my experience, I feel like I could be a help for parents that may have trouble, because in the Black community, cognitive delay and mental illness, any kind of impairment that can't be seen or physically noticeable, doesn't get a lot of attention. So we're just told to fight it off, stop being a baby, man up. It just gets ignored. And it's not like it's very much of it, but there are a lot of cases that don't get help or treatment. So let me tell you this about food sensitivity. A little story about myself. So I noticed my food sensitivity around the age, I'll say 7, around 2002. I began to see it cultivate. We were given gum at the end of class every day in my first grade class. Miss Marabati was my first grade teacher. Now, gum was a reward if you were good, and it was actually pink gum. I forgot the name of the brand, but it's like in that orange or yellow and blue wrapper. Now, I used to love it. I love eating it. I love chewing it. It tastes, some of it, I haven't had gum. I don't know the last time I've chewed gum, but the taste of it reminded me of soda a little bit. Now, after a while, maybe the end of first grade school year in 2002, I grew sensitivity to gum. Like I just couldn't eat it anymore. I couldn't eat it. I felt really sensitive to the taste. And this is what happens with me with food. Foods I grow a sensitivity towards over time. It sort of like develops. And to this day, it still does. At 28, it still does. Like, for example, I can't drink, I don't have a refrigerator, but to save money, I used to buy like drinks like lemonade, orange juice in the big gallon, like not in the gallons, but like the size that you see Simply Lemonade in. I would get the lemonade in that size. I stopped buying them because I could not finish the rest, because I can't drink anything that is hot. And when you drink out of a cart, when you drink out of something, your backwash is inside of it. And it reminded me of this. So I had a camp counselor that said she never drinks the bottle. She never drinks the remainder of soda or anything in a bottle, because the rest of it is just spit. And that always stuck with me. So I just told myself, the more I drink out of something, the less I can finish it, because it's just my backwash, and it just makes me not want to finish it. If I could take one big sip, one big gulp of something and have a little bit left, I can finish it. But if it's just spit in my own backwash, I can't finish it. So that's why I just get the little bottles. Now, the bottles like of drinks like water, soda, like $2.50. But I'd rather do that than waste, you know, liquids, because it's like I feel worse wasting half of it that I'm not going to finish. But there's a lot of foods over the years that I could eat once, and over time, my sensitivity to foods would kill my appetite, where I couldn't eat it anymore. Example, I was always eating pancakes, and then 2004, I grew a sensitivity to pancakes, a really bad sensitivity to pancakes and syrup around 2007. Like the aftertaste just sticks with my mouth. I feel like I want to throw up after eating pancakes. Um, it's so many I could tell you. Like generic food, I can't do at all. I have a sensitivity to generic food. What else? At one point, I had a sensitivity to orange juice. I couldn't, but I sort of like gained like my appetite in eating it, drinking it again. So pancakes, bubblegum, um, anything that's too sugary. Like I said, like I can't do anything generic. Um, and it all depends on how things are cooked. Like if it's juice and like the cup is too wet, I can't drink it. I know this stuff sounds crazy, but this is what I deal with sometimes with food. I can't drink out of a bottle that's too wet. Like if it just thawed out from the freezer and it's really wet, I can't drink it. I don't want to touch it. If the like cereal, for example, I don't do cereal anymore because I grew a sensitivity to drinking cereal with milk. But if the cereal is too soggy, I can't eat it. Can't finish it. What's some more things? Trying to think of some. It's a lot of foods though that I just grow sensitivity. Okay, here's another example. Also, the way foods are cooked, I have to make sure like they're done well enough. For example, I like little vegetarian chicken patties, right? But I don't have an oven to cook them in, so I don't really eat them in the microwave because I don't like the taste of it when it's in the microwave. They really should be cooked very done. But if I have a craving for it, I'll eat it in the microwave, and it's just that it's not going to taste the same when it's crispier. So I grow a little bit of a sensitivity to eating them when they're cooked in a microwave. But I could eat them, but just foods have to be cooked a certain way. Drinks have to be a certain temperature. Things can't be too wet. Um, some foods can touch. That's fine. Like I'm okay with certain foods touching, but not all touching. And over the years, I was not always a vegetarian, but I would have a routine of eating the same foods over and over and over again. When we would go to restaurants, I would always get the same foods: chicken tenders, fries, chicken tenders, fries. The same thing. You know why? Because I knew that's the one food I could eat and not have any reaction where I don't feel I feel like I'm gonna throw up, or I don't like the texture of how it's cooked, or the way it's prepared. That's the one food, and I stuck with the same foods. So like I said, I'll go to the restaurant, I'll go out and eat, be the same thing over and over and over again. But my advice for parents, and just hearing my story, if you love your child with autism, do not force them to eat foods they don't want to, because that makes things a lot worse. Don't force anything on your child. Be very patient with your child, because it's hard on them to find foods that they like. Write down the foods that you think they may like. Ask them what they like and serve that to them. But make sure they're eating vegetables too. And if they like vegetables a certain way, try to accommodate for them. Like there are vegetables that look like chicken tenders, but they're actually disguised with cauliflower and corn. That's a good choice. But my advice is don't force any foods on them. Find the foods that they like to eat. Eliminate the foods that they have sensitivity to, because they're not going to want to eat if you're forcing foods on them that they don't like to eat. And don't eat or one weird thing is red lipstick always killed my appetite, even to this day in some cases. Don't wear any lipstick or spray anything or do anything like chewing gum around them if they have a sensitivity to gum. Don't do anything like that around them when they eat. Like one thing that really like is really like bothersome to me when I eat is when people put their gum on their plate before or after they finish eating. Or they do things like they take their finger and they get the food out of their teeth with their finger or their pinky. Don't do things like that, because that could really ruin that kid's appetite.